Today, we're doing something pretty cool. We're gonna take you behind the scenes on a video where we made one set build look like half a dozen rooms. So by doing this, we cut building costs and time, which is great because we're video creators here at Threefold, not carpenters, so the less time we spend building, the better. These dogs are just going nuts. Guys. So just to give you some details on the project, the client came to us looking for a welcome video that could be fun and quirky and introduce their company and some of their departments in kind of a unique and a memorable way. So we dreamed up this concept of putting their company in this fantastical skyscraper where you would visit each room by elevator with this character named Becky, who is kind of like this spokesperson, host, tour guide. Neat side note, I live very close to the studio, about a block away. All right, so I think that should be enough detail for now. I just got to the studio. I think Joel's waiting for us inside. He's gonna go over some of the art direction, so let's do this.
All right, so we're here in the first scene. We're just minutes away from production. This is the network support floor, so we've got our 2 server racks. These were actually old, empty server racks that we repurposed, and we kind of got creative with the way these look. So they look nice and bright and shiny on the front, but when you come over here, there's cardboard, there's poster board, there's lights, and we taped all that so it looked good from the front. We did the same kind of light gag as the short one, but then we thought, we're just gonna put a TV in here. We put it on a C-stand with a Cardellini. Not recommended for at-home use, but worked for our use here. So when we picked up this server, it was actually just empty. There were just a few trays and some brackets, and everything you see here, minus the lights, are elements from the server, and ended up using what we had. We took craft paper and cut it to size and taped it inside the bracket so it looks like it could be a matte black metal wall. It's not the greatest, but it looks good on camera, and that's what we care about. You could punch a hole right through this baby.
Oh yeah, here comes Kool-Aid.
We got 3 more scenes to check out, so let's head over to the next one. And so we've got the 3 more scenes to go, and then we go on to the next one. Here we go. So it's day 2, and we're on the set. Customer experience.
And we're doing it live.
Here we got the desk, and here's another desk. There's a whiteboard. You can see the rest. Look at this space. It's so cool. Green lights there, green lights here. Lights up in the ceiling, lights on my face. Don't you know, this is the place. It's back. All right, it's day 2 in our production here in our studio, and this is the customer experience department. So this is actually the first scene that you'll see in the video. When Becky walks out of the elevator, she comes into this room. There's 2 lovely ladies answering the phones, and we wanted to show off the width of this space, the expanse of this room. Even though it's the same area that we're using in the other scenes, this is the first time that people will see it. So we shifted everything to green. The customer experience is kind of this, there's life happening up here, everything's happy, so we've got green accents. Anything that was branded, we wanted to make sure that was covered up. So we Greeked these out, Greeked these logos, and that was really all we had to worry about in this scene, but we do that quite a bit.
All right, so I'm kind of taking over for Joel now. We're gonna talk about the lighting a little bit, as well as just what this room is all about. This is the research and development room. This is where we kind of decided to ham things up a little bit, kind of make it feel like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory scene.
I shall now send this chocolate bar from one end of the room to the other.
So we decided to have some fun with this and dress up the shelf with some vintage technology, as well as taking some beakers and test tubes and filling them with dry ice. So we just took these little pellets, popped them in, and all of a sudden we've got kind of like this mad scientist, laboratory look going on here. And even having some in the foreground just to add a little extra depth kind of made the room seem a lot bigger than it actually was. So one of the things that was kind of cool about these sets is that we were able to really quickly change the color scheme with these LED panels This room was red. So yeah, that was an easy way to kind of differentiate each room really quickly without having to put up a whole new flat or bust out a bucket of paint. And we were able to just, transform the space just by simply adding new furniture and changing the lighting design just a little bit. So this scene actually involves a lot of different lights. We'll start with the practicals that we used. We've got a bunch of LED strips, kind of just, 5600 daylight strips kind of running throughout the walls here on top and bottom. And then of course, as I mentioned, we've got the LED strips actually in these LED wall panels here, as well as three 300Ds, actually two 300Ds and one 300X in the ceiling here, blasting through this 12 by 20 muslin. We originally thought that we could just grip clip it to the outer frame of our set, but it turned out that it was kind of pulling the entire set in on itself. So that's when we decided we were gonna have to build a speed rail frame around it and suspend it from our grid up in the ceiling, and that ended up working out pretty well. We ended up using a lot of cheese burrows, speed rail, and couplers to make that work. And grip clips, a lot of grip clips. So those two 300D Mark IIs and that 300X kind of functioned as the natural ambient kind of going through the room. But then as our key source, we wanted to keep it super even. So we've got two Falconized LED panels on either side and a Nova P300C going in right in the middle. I really wanted to keep things very symmetrical, very even for this. So we also kind of had a 300D Mark I kind of playing as a key that we used when we needed just a little extra lift on our subject.
Here we go.
Hey there. All right, now we are here in the elevator set. We'll talk a little bit about the lighting, but we'll also talk about just the overall design of this particular space. When we were conceptualizing this ad, we did give it a little bit of thought to actually shoot this sequence in a real elevator. We had done some scouts, looking at different elevator styles, but it really just came down to the fact that it wouldn't be very convenient from a space perspective, but also just inconveniencing other people in a building that had to get to floors and things like that. So we decided it would probably make more sense for us just to build an elevator, and then would give us more flexibility and more creative control over the space, what it looked like, some of the lighting gags that we did that we'll talk about in a second. Let's dive into just kind of the construction of this. Pretty simple. We basically just took the exact same panels and flats that we used for the other sets that we showed you, but there's a few things that we added from a lighting perspective to really sell the idea that we were in an elevator. So let's talk about that now. Here we've got an aperture spotlight mount on either side of our elevator set. And what we did is we just tilted these fixtures up or down, and this created the illusion of motion. And it was actually pretty convincing. So that was a cool little effect that we were able to add to really kind of sell the idea that we were in an elevator that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do in an elevator on location. This is where we had to go in for some pickup shots. We had Adam 3D print some pieces for us, and we bought these little buttons off Amazon for elevators. Sometimes you make little boo-boos in your set, and you gotta clean that up in post. This was the other panel that we used, just 3D printed, and that worked out pretty well with the silver frame around it.
I'm Adam. I wanted to show you another little bit that we're doing with this set to give an indicator of what floor you're on or what floor you're going to. Elevators can have a little display there to say, you're on the ground floor or you're going up to the very top floor. We wanted to have the floor indicator be kind of futuristic, so we printed out a plate that light could shine through to have a display behind it that didn't look so much like a display. It really blended into the environment that it was placed in. It's literally just a keynote with an animation on it, because you can set it up in no time at all, and it also looks very clean. I'm gonna take you into my secret fun world. Come back here. We had actually cut a hole in this panel to put our elevator buttons in. We were able to rotate the panel and kind of do some double purpose work with it. So we've got a small HD monitor on a C-stand. It's very bright, really punches through those holes. Very solid, very nice.
Well, we made it. Production day number 4 just wrapped up. Talent just left, started tearing down. This is the last scene that we did, and this was the inside of a house. So we wanted to kind of keep the same white themes, but make it look like we were maybe inside a house. Door was opening and the service technician was greeting the lady at the door. We went bold. We decided to go with red. Red is one of their brand colors. So we painted trim and little touches here and there and left everything else kind of monochromatic, blacks, whites, and then a little bit of sprigs of plants here and there. And the outdoors was kind of something we were thinking about. Should we green screen it? Should we do something after the fact? But we decided to go with a seamless paper backdrop for the sky. And then we took some fake greenery over apple boxes and made our shrubs that any good neighborhood, any good home should have. One of the last things we added was this table here. It was kind of a final touch. Made it feel a lot more homey and made the space feel a lot bigger. Well, we hope you enjoyed tagging along and seeing all the different iterations of this set. But for now, I gotta sign off and get back to work. So till next time, Joel from Threefold. We'll see you later. Ow. It's not gonna. Yeah? Did you get it? Did you get it? I couldn't get the code on. It's a size 0. That's probably why.